Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sarah with Jujube Crafts and More. Thank you so much for stopping by today. On my channel, I love to do DIY crafts on a budget, thrift store flips, posting original artwork, and even some paper crafting from time to time. I hope you like my channel and I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. For our first DIY, we're going to start out with some pieces from one of the 15-foot strands of garland. And I'm just cutting them down. I think these were about 11.5-inch strips, and then I'm just going to give these guys a really good haircut. This reminded me of cutting my Barbie's hair when I was a kid. It kind of brought back some good and bad flashbacks. No, really, we want to get these cut down. They're a little long, and when you cut them down, it makes them look a little more high-end. Next, I'm going to take some of these boxwood pieces that I bought from Walmart, and I'm just clipping them down into the little, I think it's like, they break down into like 4 little petals on each one. And so I'm just going to tie my wreath together with some floral wire. Again, giving it some more haircut to even out those edges and pieces. And then I'm going to glue in these pieces of boxwood right on the top of my wreath. This is going to give it more of a high-end look. It's going to fill it out and make it look more complete. So I'm just going to go all the way around, adding glue to the very end and gluing those right on top. Again, use your scissors to cut back any long strands and stray pieces. You want it to look uniform. Next, I'm going to take some of this eucalyptus from Walmart as well, and I'm just going to place it into my wreath in various places. You don't have to add this part. I just thought it would be nice to add a little more greenery to these. Next, I'm going to take this mini candle ring floral piece. And I'm going to take off the pieces of the, what are those called? The holly leaves. And I'm actually cutting them down to be smaller. And you just kind of, it's really easy to make a holly berry leaf. You just curve and cut, curve and cut, curve and cut all the way around. And you'll need 3 of those. And then I added some berries in the middle as well. And then I'm going to add that to my wreath. And I'm going to take 4 more of these holly berry leaves, and I'm just going to cut them down into smaller bits so that they'll fit on my wreath better. The original ones are just too big and they wouldn't look very well on these smaller wreaths. So I'm just cutting them down and gluing them together. And these ones I'm just gluing 2 together instead of 3 and adding some berries. And then I'll place these on my wreath in about so that they're at like the 1/3 mark approximately. I'm not measuring anything out. I'm just using my eyes to figure out where I want them to be, where it would look best. So I'm just gluing those on, and I will do this with 3 different pieces of the garland, these exact steps, so that I create 3 different wreaths. Next, I'm going to create a bow. I'm just using some of this shear ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm actually going to make it a 2-layer bow. So I'm just going to cut 2 pieces that are exactly the same, and then I'm just crossing them over to make it look like one of the, like a cancer ribbon or one of the awareness ribbons, and then pinching them together, and then I'm going to tie the middle with some embroider floss in a green color, and that's how I'm going to make my bow for these. Now you can make your bow any way you'd like. You can add a twine bow, you can add a bigger bow, you can add multiple layers of bows, whatever you like. I am just here to give you inspiration for your own creations. And then I'm going to hot glue that right directly above the 3 pointed holly berry leaf one. Next, I'm going to take these square canvases that I bought at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add some of this red gingham ribbon that I also picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to place this one at the top of this canvas piece. So it's just maybe 1.5 inches down from the top there. And I'm just going to glue it into place with some hot glue. And then I'm going to hot glue my wreath onto that canvas. Next, I'm going to take another canvas in the exact same size, and I'll have the supply list down below in the description box. And I placed the gingham ribbon in the very middle of the canvas there, and then I glued my wreath on top of it. Now I decided that the bows needed something a little extra, so I'm taking some of these really small pine cones that I bought in a package from the Dollar Tree. It was the cinnamon scented pine cones, and there are multiple different pine cone sizes in that little bag, so I just picked out some of the smaller ones, and I'm just hot gluing those right to the middle of my bow. And then I'm going to cut my tails on my bow at an angle for each of my wreaths. Next, I'm going to take the last canvas and I'm going to hot glue my gingham ribbon to the bottom part and then glue my wreath right on top again. So now I have 3 canvases with my gingham ribbon in 3 different places and my wreaths all 3 in the middle. Next, I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to glue the middle canvas on the very bottom of the top canvas, and then I'm going to glue it onto the top of the last canvas. I still felt it needed something extra, so I'm taking some of this shear ribbon and I'm just placing it at the very top and bottom of the middle canvas here. Next, I'm going to create a hanger. Now make sure, I probably should have measured this out, but you want to make sure that your hanger is directly in the middle there so that it hangs on your wall. If you're going to place this up against the wall freestanding, then you won't need to worry about that. But if you are going to hang it with one of these hangers, then with a hanger this way, then I would make sure that it's directly in the middle. Otherwise, you can do a side-to-side hanger, so a hanger that goes from the top right to the top left, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it being directly in the middle. So I'm just placing a generous amount of hot glue. And then I learned this trick from Holly over at Hot Humble Pie, that you would put masking tape right over the top of your hot glue, and she swears by this technique that it helps to keep your hanger from falling off over time. So I have decided to give this a try and see how that works out. And I'm just clipping off the ends to make them look a little nicer. And if you wanted to complete the back of your piece, you could cover it with some paper or some brown paper to make it look finished on the back. So here's a look at our final piece. I love how this turned out. I think these wreaths look so cute, and really, I don't think that you could tell that they came from a Dollar Tree products. I think that they look high-end and just beautiful. I love the different colors of green in them, and the bows, and the berries, and the pine cones. It all came together great. I do feel like it's still missing a little something, maybe some words or something. Let me know in the comments down below what you would add to this wreath, or what you think this wreath needs to be completed, or if you would just leave it as is. Now Now on to DIY number 2. We are going to create a little gnome home. So I'm taking one of these arrows from the Crafter Square section in the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut off the hangers. And then I'm going to give it a quick sanding right over the top of those holes. You don't really need to do that part, but if they're kind of sticking up a little bit, you'll want to do that because we are going to place paper over the top, and you don't want a bulky, weird spot where those holes are. So if it's sticking up a little bit, just take a little sandpaper and smooth it down. And then I wanted to figure out where my roof line was, so I'm just taking a large popsicle stick, and I'm just going to mark it with a pencil if I can find my pencil. Who knows where that's at? I don't know. Everything's jumbled mess. Found the pencil. So next I've picked out some papers from these paper packs that I bought at Michael's. Here's a look at this one. The polka dot paper came from that one, and the wood paper came from that one. And next I'm just going to use a glue stick. This is a craft glue stick that I bought at Walmart. They're a little more heavy duty, and I'm just gluing those down. Next I'm going to take these little cups. You can buy these at Michael's or Joann's or online, and they're just little, I don't know what they are. They're just little cups. So I'm going to create my gnome out of one of these little cups, and I'm painting it red. And then I took one of these wood hearts from the Dollar Tree from Valentine's Day, and I painted it black. And next I'm taking one of these big wood balls, and I'm going to paint it brown because I wanted my gnome to be dark colored, and so I'm painting it brown, and I'm also painting the little nose brown. Next I'm going to take some of these small popsicle sticks, and I am going to paint them black. And really my paintbrush was wet, and so when I dip it into my black paint, it really is creating a wash of color, not a very thick black paint on that, so that the wood shows through. Next I'm going to paint this large popsicle stick in all white. After my glue had dried, I just cut off the edges a little bit, clipped them down, and then I'm going to take a sanding block, and I'm going to, at an angle, sand off the paper around this little house. And I just really like the way that the sandpaper gets the extra paper off, but you could definitely just use your scissors or a X-Acto knife to get right up against your house there to cut off the extra paper. Next we're going to glue the head onto the body of our little gnome, and I'm just using hot glue. And then I didn't need that bottom part of the heart, so I'm just going to clip that off with some scissors because I just wanted the front there for his little feet. So then I'm just going to hot glue the body onto the little black feet there. And I really apologize in advance for being out of frame a lot in this video. I'm still trying to figure out my setup and trying to figure out how and where my camera needs to be. And so it's still a huge learning process for me. So I hope that you'll bear with me and continue watching my videos, because I will just get better and better as time goes on and as I learn. So I really do appreciate you watching my videos, and I really thank you so much. So I'm just taking one of these red and white fluffy socks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just cutting off a bit of the white. I cut off a piece of the sock so that the white and red would be showing, and then I cut off a good portion of the white, and I'm just showing you here that you could use that extra that we cut off from the sock as his beard, but I am going to use some of this faux fur that I have. I crochet, and so I have faux fur in my craft stash for making pom-poms for hats. And so I just decided that I wanted to have the real fur look for his beard, but you could definitely use the end of the sock or some of the microfiber mop or some of the microfiber, that white microfiber stuff that you can buy from the automotive section for drying off cars. So there's lots of options for making little beards for your little gnomes. You could also use just white felt if you wanted to, or yarn. Lots and lots of options. So here you'll see I'm just cutting down this piece of faux fur to try and get a good match for a beard for this guy. So I just cut, and you want to cut from the back if you're using this faux fur, because it helps keep it from, you don't cut the fur as much. It creates less mess. And then I'm giving it a little trim so that it's nice and even. And then I'm going to place it on and see if it works. So it's just kind of a place and fit, see where it goes. And then once you get it to where you want it, you'll just hot glue that right onto your gnome's little face. Just like so. And then once you get the beard on, you can make it shorter if you want. You can clip it up. I do give it a little haircut here in just a few minutes to shape it more. And so yeah. Next, I'm going to take the end of the sock where I left a little bit of the white, and I know you can't see it, but I'm just kind of placing it around the head to get a fitting for it. So once I kind of figure out how much I need, I'm just going to clip off the extra, and then I'm going to hot glue that down. And I don't want there to be too much space between the beard and the top of the hat. You really want it to be just a very small sliver of area showing there. So I'm just going to hot glue that down, and then I'll hot glue that down around the whole bottom part of the wood bead, so it covers up that whole back of the wood bead. Now you can cut this so that it makes a, like an actual Santa hat, but I chose to do my hat this way. And there you just saw I was gluing on the little nose, and then I just tied some twine around the top of the hat to make just kind of a square hat. And I really love this look. I think it's so cute. And now we're going to work on the house. So I wanted there to be like, I kind of thought like that this berry garland looked like it could be little lights on the house. So I wrapped it around a couple times. And I thought it just added a little whimsy and some interest to this little house. Next, I'm going to cut down some popsicle sticks for a door. And I think my popsicle sticks ended up being about 2 1/4 inches long. So, but you can kind of cut them down and figure out where you want them to be. I'm just going to sand down the edges so they're not super sharp. And then I'm just going to glue those into place with some hot glue. And then to add some extra dimension onto the door, I'm just taking some of these sandwich sticks that I bought from the Dollar Tree. They just came in a package, and I'm just cutting them down to create like a little, interest on the door there. Next, I'm going to create a little window, and I didn't measure out these pieces. I just kind of placed them down, looked where I wanted them, and then put them on. So I just kind of played with it until I was really happy with how it looked. And I think that's the beauty of crafting, is to just kind of see where things go. Look and see if you like it, then go with it. And if you don't like it, then change it up and try something different. So here's my little window for my little gnome home. And then I wanted to create a little stand for my gnome to stand on that was in front of the house. So I'm taking this giant popsicle stick that I bought from Walmart, and I just cut it down so that it was a little longer than my house, and then I'm just going to hot glue, and I know you couldn't see it, but hot glue and wood glue the bottom there so that it's creates a little ledge. And then I'm going to hot glue my little gnome down right there. And then I'm going to add some little trees. These were a 10-pack of trees from Walmart. And here is a look at how this little gnome home turned out. I think it is just too cute. I love it. I am in love with gnomes. I think I've said that before in the past, but I love gnomes. They are like my favorite. And so this little guy has a piece of my heart already, and I cannot wait to put him out in my house. I think this piece is just whimsical and super rustic and just really cute. And I apologize if you can hear my cat. She's being needy. Oh, yeah, bet you could hear that. And for DIY number 3, we're going to take one of these frames with the galvanized piece in it, and I'm going to take that galvanized piece out and take off the hanger part with a screwdriver. And then I'm going to hot glue some of this red buffalo plaid check fabric that I bought from Walmart. And I'm just going to glue down the sides first and then tuck in the corners. And I'm not using a whole lot of glue here because if I want to change this out in the future, it will be easy to take off. And I can change it out and put a different color fabric on there. So I'm just hot gluing it. I'm going to return the little hanger and then put it back in the frame. And then I have these little cut aparts that I bought from this Recollections pack from Michael's, and they are 3x3 size, and I'm just going to cut them down with my trimmer here. Again, I apologize for not being in frame, but all I'm doing is just using my trimmer to cut those little 3x3 cut aparts apart. And I decided to go with this that little cut apart. I don't know what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. Ugh. So I thought it needed a little more decoration. So I'm taking these pieces that came off of that candle wreath. That candle wreath, I have used every piece of that. I have used every piece of it. I love it. I think it's fun. So then I created a bow using this buffalo check ribbon with the snowflakes on it that I bought from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to place that right in the middle of those two pieces of greenery. Right in the middle. Now this is a super easy DIY. It's just, kind of taking something from the Dollar Tree and making it different, revamping it. So then I'm going to dovetail my little ribbon ends. And you could add a photo of your family on this. You could put, a piece of paper with a sticker on it. The possibilities are endless, but I really love this little "'tis the season to be jolly" sentiment in this one. So here is a look at how it turned out. I think this turned out really super cute. I love that you can change the sentiment when you want to, or that you can put a picture of your family in here. And it's just so farmhouse, rustic, cute. I just love this. And it was so easy to do. And on to DIY number 4. This is our last DIY of this video. So to get started, I'm just going to take one of these mason jar set around pieces, and I'm going to take off the paper and the twine that was on it off, and then I'm just going to use a glue stick and I'm going to place down a new piece of paper. And I chose this gingham, like red on red gingham print. Next, I'm going to take, because this piece came off all in one piece pretty much, I'm just going to cut off the lid to make a template so that I can cut a lid that matches. So I'm just going to trace the lid part onto a piece of shimmery silver paper, and then I'm going to cut that out. And here I'm just kind of placing the lines for the lid there. And then I'm going to do like a faux galvanized look on this. So I'm taking some dark gray, and again, I will leave all the colors in the description box down below. But I think this is like pewter gray. And I'm just going to dab it on using a makeup sponge that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. Those makeup sponges are great for all kinds of painting projects. So if you don't have makeup sponges in your stash for when you're painting or stenciling or any of that kind of stuff, you definitely should go and get some because they work super awesome. And then I'm going to take a mid-tone gray color and I'm going to go right over the top of that gray, just patting it on, or pouncing it on, I should say. And then I have this metallic silver that I'm going to add as the top layer here. And again, just using the makeup sponge and just pouncing it on. And you'll want to make sure that the layers are dry in between each layer of paint that you put onto these. Otherwise, you'll just kind of get a globby mess. So it's important that they're dry in between. And honestly, on the paper with the makeup sponges, it does not take long. So I'm just going to use a small stiff brush here to add back those little lines on the lid with the dark pewter gray color. And I actually do end up going in with a little black and adding some black in as well. And it's a dry brush, it is not a wet brush, so I'm just kind of dry brushing this on and creating those lines. And there it is with just the pewter color, and then I decided that it needed the black. It just wasn't standing out enough for me, so I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to add in, again with the dry brush, a little layer of black towards the bottom of those lines, just to give it a little more dimension and make it stand out a little bit more. And then I'm going to take some burnt umber, and I'm just going to kind of dirty up the edges just to make it look a little worn and dirty maybe. Again, just to add some depth and dimension and make it look more realistic, I guess. Next, I'm going to cut around this little mason jar. Again, once your glue is dry, you'll want to either, however you want to clip off your extra paper is totally up to you. Again, I really like the sandpaper technique. It really creates a nice edge and gets it really super close, makes it look like it's just part of the piece, and it is just my preferred method, but you definitely could use whatever you would like for getting that extra paper off, whether it's an X-Acto knife or scissors or whatever. It's all good, whatever you like. Next, I'm going to add the little lid back to the mason jar, and I just used hot glue. I probably should have used like some other kind of glue, but I didn't have anything else so on hand. So I just used hot glue, and then I'm going to add back that twine. And then I'm going to, again, using these candle ring pieces, I'm going to clip off some of this greenery and then add a pine cone and some berries to the top of this, just in that corner. And then I'm showing you could use stickers to add some sort of a word, or these rub-on transfers to add a word. There's like lots of words on here, gather, joy, but I'm going to use a sticker out of this sticker book. This also came from Michael's. It's the Recollections collection that goes with those paper pads that I was showing you earlier. And this sticker book has a ton of different really great stickers in it. So I just chose one that I liked, and I'm just going to place this right in the middle of my little jar. And that's all I'm going to do for this piece. You could add a clothespin and make this a picture hanger, and that would be super cute too. I love how rustic, farmhouse, and cute this turned out. This is one of those little pieces that you could put in any little nook and cranny around your house to add a little extra Christmas cheer. Let me know in the comments down below which project from today was your favorite. My favorite was the gnome. I love how whimsical, cute, and wonderful that turned out. That will be a piece that I will have in my house for a very long time. I just adore it. So thank you so much for watching and spending part of your day with me. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you like my video. Give it a big thumbs up and share it if you have anyone you think might like this as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. I hope you have a safe, wonderful, and blessed day, and I hope that we will see each other again. Talk to you next time. Bye!